You know, when the junta came in, you know, they were censored, and they started to look at means. You know, almost every military government or most of these governments, when they come into power, people will approach them to see how they work with them in order clandestinely to either work on drugs or some kind of economic maneuvering. And the junta was approached by Babanding Funding Siso. You remember the famous Babanding, the Malian,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, scammer. Because Babanding started to scam in Dubai and was making money. Babanding wanted to build an infrastructure somewhere to live, and Gambia became a very desirable place because there was a new government, a junta. Babanding approached the junta to say, I am a billionaire, come and invest in the Gambia. But behind the scenes, when he sat with Jammeh and others, they agree on, I mean, getting into drug trafficking. This was in 20, 19, the 1996, when a shipment containers of heroin were intercepted in Mauritania, bound to the Gambia, addressed to the Gambia Minister of Agriculture, concealed as fertilizer. You remember the case? This was a consignment to start the transshipment of drugs from the Gambia that the government have sanctioned.
In June 2010, billion-dollar cocaine haul, the first time in the Gambia. 12 people were arrested after investigators discovered the drugs in an underground bunker in a warehouse in Bonto. In January 2021, 2 tons, 952 kilograms, and 850 grams of cocaine loaded in 118 bags that were labeled salt industrial, put in a container estimated at $4.5 billion. Sulayman Ben Suwareh said it is sad to say the country is unable to rid itself of the menace of narco trafficking.
This was a consignment to start the transshipment of drugs from the Gambia that the government have sanctioned, but Jammeh's government have sanctioned with Babanding and so. At the same time, within that period, Babanding was in America doing what? Trying to buy all helicopters, military helicopters, to bring into the Gambia so that they can be picking up their consignment and transporting around the Atlantic. When he was caught, because of he needed a special license and he bribed the authorities to get this helicopters without the going through the process of obtaining the special license. That's what he was arrested for. And because well, because of this, then that infrastructure got broken off. Then gradually the attention of the international community came onto Babanding. And this is when they find out that, in fact, this guy was scamming a bank in Dubai. And when it hit up, already have invested a lot in Gambia. He bought hotels, Amis Beach and another hotel, and given money everywhere. Then the junta, Jammeh for that matter, decided this guy has become a hotcake. Let me try and expel him out of the country so that the international community would not bother me. That's what Jammeh did. Next now, it's to put a parallel trafficking operation that involves the Colombians and the South American cartels. And it continued. This why this you see, when Gambians say, oh, Tammy Jammeh can know it, it's because Jammeh was controlling that. It's just like Jammeh was controlling crime. He's taking the crime away from the criminals, and who was the criminal doing it? And the state-sponsored crime, we are seen differently. But now, because of we have the space now of democracy, now the crimes is kind of a it's just liberalized. In the case of Jammeh, he controlled. You hardly heard of any drug bust. I mean, major drug bust, cocaine and others. You hear the cannabis here and there because he was the one embedded with the security with the drug squad and all the other stakeholders into the trafficking. Until when, by default, the minute Jammeh realized that the British intelligence are following the trail of one of the cartel, Venezuelan cartel members. This is the 1 ton of drug found in Bondo. It happens. Some of the drug that was in Bondo was actually now being sold in the within the thing by people involved. At the same time, it triggered the British intelligence. This was the reason Jammeh declared that they found a ton of cocaine and invited to, so that he can have plausible deniability. To insulate himself, he invited the British to come in to help. He was insulating himself. As you see, it's not my interest. This is how we knew about that drug present. But there are so many airport. The airport was open for, control. Every aspect of the state was participating and facilitating drug trafficking. When Barrow came, Barrow directly, he's not involved as or controlled as Jammeh has. What Barrow did is created an environment. His government created an environment for all these things to flourish. For people who might ask, what audacity I would have to say this. You remember that one of the people I mentioned here, Silaba Samate, even Yusuf Asedi and others were entangled with Jammeh. And as always, Jammeh, whoever entangled Jammeh will end up being a Jammeh's victim. Silaba was part of, and not only Silaba, the former IGP, Jesus, who said in court, I am, how to call it? Jammeh as, dismissed for me to sell drugs or, traffic drugs for him. He said it. Silaba, afterward, they released him to use him as a state witness. He absconded. Silaba came on social media and he was literally bluffing about how he outsmart Jammeh. That same Silaba was completely broke. He was into a lot of things in the time of Jammeh and everything. But when he absconded from Jammeh, he was completely broke. 2016, when he left here, back to the Gambia, he was completely broke. So suddenly now we saw Silaba, the president, allowing Silaba to sit on the high table with him. Why would Silaba sit with the president? Silaba does not have the intelligence. Silaba doesn't have the political clout. And the character of Silaba, the president knows, or people around the president should know. If the president said he didn't know the character of Silaba, we cannot accept that. Because he has admitted that he's the most informed person, isn't it?
Yes.
You wouldn't tell me that the SIS would not advise him. You won't tell me that National Security Service, all these oversight bodies will not advise the president and be careful of this character. Not only that he sits on a platform with the president, Silaba was seen on video, given the privilege to decorate soldiers. Someone he's known as a work with the cartel. Henry Gomez is known to be involved in drug trafficking in Germany. But right now, Henry Gomez is involved in drug trafficking. We have evidences, and if they want, let them challenge. We know this, all these cartels
facilitated. Let me just interject here for a few seconds. these people you are naming, you are so, I mean, like you have the audacity to name them, and these
Yes.
people are around and they may be very powerful. Don't you think they may sue you or, I mean, launch an attack on you because you don't have
Because,
evidence to prove?
no, I mean,
Um,
there's evidence. There's evidence. There's evidence. And what I'm analyzing are facts. Was not Silaba involved in drugs? Was he not charged for drugs? Trafficking? Was not in mile two for drug trafficking? Did Silaba not come online to admit involvement with Jammeh and drugs? Or was Silaba not seen decorating soldiers? Why would Silaba sit on a podium with the president? Is Silaba not overnight become a millionaire again in the Gambia, building mansions and everything? What is Silaba's source of income? If you go and audit those businesses, they can never make you rich. I mean, within the span of 3 years for that matter. In 3 years, he was doing that. Within 3 years, Silaba was building police checkpoints, donating it to the police. Wow. Henry Gomez, right now, he is involved with a protocol officer. We are not naming the protocol officer for now, who is transporting Henry giving her directives where to pick the drugs and where to deposit the drugs and she get paid. Henry Gomez is bringing people known to be part of the cartel networks who operate in Guinea-Bissau and others to meet the president. For what? They are not investors. What have they invested? He has facilitated on the wall to access our diplomatic passports. That was published by Mulligan. This is facts. I will not sit here to make up anything. So, and the evidence are glaring out there. It's in open source. But that's not only what we know. Let them challenge it. Look at the case of Bantaketa. People that follow my program, 3 months before the arrest of the 2 tons of cocaine, I advocate saying that Gambia is turning up to be a narco state. From nowhere. Not, it was in for people viewing, it was from nowhere because they could not see the evidence. But as I said, because of my background, I can access, I can see. You see, you don't wait to see the in drug trafficking or in the cartels, it's not drugs they deal with alone. They have to deal with the proceeds of drugs. Businesses, laundering, these are things you have to understand. And again, if you understand the cartel, how they work, and if you don't understand security or intelligence work, there's something called profiling. So suddenly you see certain kind of people coming into the country. You ask yourself, what attracts them to Gambia? Or do they have an investment interest? What interest do they have? Well, I mean, and look at certain things, then you will know there's something not right here. These are the leaks. We call them leaks. I picked up, and I knew there's a cartel operation going on. And the next minute, guess what? 2 tons of cocaine. For instance, childhood friend of mine was so worried when he had me saying this, and they could not see any evidence. And he called me to say, bro, be careful. Let politics. I said, I don't do politics. But you know what things, I mean, these things are outrageous. And so I said, look, it's a matter of time. It will be proven. The day it was published that they impounded 2 tons, he called me and apologized. He said, I did doubt you. I mean, not that because I don't know your character, because I was just worried that you might be carried this thing for thing. But literally what happened there? The Gambia government or the authorities did not find the cocaine because they did not look for it. It was forced on them. The international drug law enforcement agencies trail this cargo from South America to Spain and to onwards to Gambia. And the minute it docked, they notify the Gambia government, their counterparts. Guess what?
The case in point, you're talking about the naval officers who were dismissed.
No. This is the 2 tons of cocaine of Banta Keita in 2020. But you know the 2 tons.
Yes.
Banta Keita at the Gambia Ports Authority around December. I advocated from October. By December, they impounded this 2 tons of cocaine. Banta was in the Gambia. Banta visited the ports that morning. And they knew, because the minute the Gambia authorities got the intelligence, and they know the shipment and all the records, they should have known who owns it. Before they even visit the port, there should be a team that go and arrest Banta. But instead, Banta was asked to leave the country. Banta left the ports to leave the country. Because of Banta is connected. Banta had people, witnesses we know, known of Banta presence at the State House 3 times. Witnesses. Committed president. Banta's lawyer is the president's lawyer, Sirif Tambir. You see this connection. You see, when Banta picture came out, and Banta and people say, oh, this is a fake name. I did my due diligence. And one of the contacts, my due diligence, you know from where? From the financial sector. Someone said, yes, this is one of our clients, Banta, yeah. That's the picture and name corresponds. And that was the person who told me, actually, Sirif Tamedo is his lawyer. Because one of the properties he was trying to buy in Fajara M section, Sirif was the lawyer doing the conveyance. This is how I confirm that Banta, it's a name, and Banta, that face we say, that's Banta. But Banta they said Banta absconded. They went and arrested a gentleman, Sirif Njai, who probably did not even know what he was doing. He was just working for Banta. But he didn't know about the cocaine or anything. But I can tell you, Banta is living in Senegal right here. Members of the security forces know about where he lives. Some of them do meet him in Senegal. Banta's wife is still in the Gambia. She frequents travel to Senegal. People should ask themselves, Banta's wife is a foreigner. If it was because of Banta you came to the Gambia, now Banta have absconded. Why are you still in the Gambia? Because of Banta, drug operation is still on. And Banta is linked to the latest one that involved the Marine, the Gambia Navy. Banta is linked into that crime. Now, let me give you another point. Sirif Tambedu, the lawyer for Banta and the lawyer for the president, a lady from Zenith Bank or one of the banks, testify in the case. Still the case cannot be finished. We're still dragging. Testify in the case that Sirif Tambedu instructed her to come to his office to open a bank account for Banta Keita without Banta Keita's being present. Then the lady did that in the trust that he's dealing with a lawyer and a senior person. Opened the account and money were transferred into that account. And guess how the account got closed? The money in that account was transferred later into Sirif Tambedu's account, and the account got closed. Is it that not a typical money laundering case? Have you had the arrest of Sirif Tambedu? Have you had the Bar Association, sanctioning Sirif Tambedu? Because this is why I said the state is captured. Now, the president's lawyer, who's so important to the president that he represented the president in a legal case, involving his legitimacy to serve as a president after the elections. This guy is a lawyer to a known drug trafficker, a cartel member, but not only a lawyer. There's nothing wrong being a lawyer to a drug trafficker, but have involved in a transaction which is criminal, which is money laundering. Then the lawyer knows. And when a lawyer knows that the your client is involved in a crime, you have the facts, you cannot defend that lawyer, person. If you defend, you are in a joint enterprise. If a client tells you they are guilty of their crime, you cannot represent them, or only represent them, you represent them on a plea bargain or a guilty charge. But this is part, in fact, the joint enterprise, you taking part in the crime. Let's see the case of Pablo Jammeh. I agitated the case of Pablo Jammeh. Pablo Jammeh's real name is Ababakar Jammeh, a Gambian Bissau. People say Bissau, but I can give a Gambian because the parents are of Gambian extract. Gambia Bissau citizen. Pablo have the audacity to call himself Pablo Escobar. You know, you have so comfortable in the Gambia. You are involved in narco trade and you call yourself the most notorious drug dealer in the world, in the history of drug dealing. You see that audacity, that the entrenchment of the cartel, the state capture. You see, you don't wait to arrest the person with drugs. You follow trails, and the trails are you look into someone's activity. Pablo was flying into the Gambia and out of the Gambia on private jets. At that time, he was not known of any business. All the businesses he leased businesses from people. That's the cover for money laundering. I advocate about Pablo. Pablo was well known in the circles of so-called Gambian society, the elites of Gambian society. He owned sophisticated vehicles, bought so many properties, all in drug trafficking. The only reason they arrested Pablo was because of the drugs found in Belgium, in St. Brussels. But even arresting Pablo, they deliberately make sure they did not arrest him with any quantity of drugs. Whatever they declare was not what. That Pablo today is given bail. For what? Saying that he's not well, he will need to give he will need treatment. And he's given his passport. We all know that's lies. The wife is given bail. But activists going out calling for accountability did not commit any crime, are sent to Malta and not given bail. And who is Pablo's lawyer? The president's lawyer, Sheriff Mari Tambir.
Now, how do we extricate ourselves as a country from these cartels? You have given us a background, what happened or what transpired during Jammeh's era, now coming to Barrow. Who else can help resolve this issue for us, knowing that we are, like you are talking, we are knee deep into this?
Thank you very much. You see, as we make, you see, the cartel are very sophisticated. When they operate, they don't only hijack. When I say state capture, they don't only capture the state. As I said, they capture the media, but they capture opinion leaders in the country. They capture religious leaders in the country. They capture influencers. They capture part of the opposition if they can. Knowingly or unknowingly. My point of knowingly or unknowingly. Probably there are cartel members given to the oppositions. I am not going to make a fix because I didn't have the evidence. But I am explaining how cartels operate. They hedge their bets. They might knowingly on to the opposition that someone giving them is a cartel member. Because cartel members are not tattooed on their head. They don't have tattoos. They are Gambians and non-Gambians. But normally, they have Gambian representatives. A South American would not come to you and bribe you. South American, who used to say Gambian businessman, who part of the cartel, doing what? That part of the cartel doesn't mean that they are taking the drugs, transporting it, or selling it. No. They are taking the proceeds of the drug and recycling it in their business. That's why the Gambian economy is so distorted. The amount of drug money in that country, that's why they have the audacity to sell properties for $300,000. apartments. Check this, every cartel member arrested, senior, they have how many apartments do they have? 6, 7, 8. Now, and always, the arrested people, that's not the real number. That's the tip of the iceberg. The ones not arrested are far more. Now, if the sample is Pablo, when they arrested Pablo, he got 4, 5, 6, or 7 properties. When they arrested, when they busted Banta, he have 3, 4, 5 properties. And others, then imagine the others that are not arrested. Technically, then they own highest percentage of properties in the country because they have the drug money to recycle. Then they are inflating, making so prices are inflated, making the demand high when actually it's because of drug money. Now, in order to deal with this issue, you know, politicians don't make the case. Have you ever had politicians making the case about the drug trafficking? The opposition.
Really?
Even though
really
you have
seen talk about it.
Yeah, and you see the effect on the ground. You go to Senegal, you go to all these entertainment venues now. Cocaine is cheaper in the Gambia than anywhere else. And not only cocaine, now they are, processing it into different kind of drugs. Young people, 16-year-olds, and others are all addicted to drugs. The Kololi caravan, everywhere you go now, you find this epidemic of drugs. It's not cannabis anymore. It's the synthetic drugs. It's the hard drugs. Now, people will talk about cost of living and all other stuff, but they will not talk about drug trafficking because of the cartel are very sophisticated. They are very powerful. In order to change that, this is where we have to choose our leaders right. The Barrow government can never resolve this problem because they have been captured. Their hands are completely tied down and dirty in the mud of the filth that this trafficking have created. We have to rescue ourselves. This is the time we need credible opposition to come together to form a coalition, knowing that the challenges we have, a single opposition party cannot. It's not about only winning Barrow, it's about bringing about the change. Bringing about that change it's about unity of purpose. Unify the Gambian people again, and then have all the talents needed, people with integrity, and reform the entire institutions. You will realize that 99% of the personnel working at the drug law enforcement agency, they are the same people who were there in the time of Jammeh. Do you expect change? And we had them testify at the TRRC. Do you expect change? Just as we have to have these reforms. Then part of the reforms is not only about the personnels. It's about how do we give them the resources they need. We need resources to fight the cartel. We need to make sure we have the right structure. We have the capacity to fight the cartel. But to fight the cartel, the most important quality or character or capacity need is integrity. The leadership that will stand to say, we are not going to do this. We are going to have a zero approach to this. We can do it. But not with a government like this. They can never reform themselves. Reforms are leadership-led, and they lack the leadership to lead any reforms. That's why we need a leadership to bring about change of government, then we have change of situation.
So where do we go from here? If you are explaining how complicated the system is to get rid of this cartel, now who do you think is best suited to fight this job for us as a country?
There's no individual suited. You see, Gambia, we have a problem of looking at individuals thinking that they are solutions to problems. A leader is very important. But what we require is a leadership. A leadership means that leader able to have group of group of leaders to show leadership, to lead. This is what the problem is. Let me give you an example here. The reason Pastef in Senegal succeeded in it was because of leadership. You know, you cannot predict the youths in the streets that give their lives without the leadership. You realize that? Because it's the leadership that energized them, that inspired them to the point of making them believe of a better future, that they are ready to sacrifice their life, in fact, if not for them, but for their families. It takes leadership to do that. People have to believe in you. It's not just you look at the leader, oh, he's got a bachelor's, he's got a master's, he's got a doctorate, he worked at that place, he's worked at that place. What has that leader transformed? Or in the time of difficulty right now, if the person cannot prove themselves, let them prove themselves.
We will be back with Suwareh's other analysis of the country in our subsequent editions.